Hello children, today we are going to study the chapter Microbes and Diseases. So, as you all know that our world is full of different types of living organisms. Some are very big, some are small, and there are some organisms that are very small, too small to be seen by naked eyes. We have to use microscope to see them. And these tiny living things that cannot be seen with naked eye but can only be seen under a microscope are called microbes, or we call them microorganisms also. Okay, so these microorganisms, they are found everywhere, in the air, water, soil, inside the bodies of humans and animals, and in dead and decaying organic matter. So these microorganisms, they can survive in almost all types of environment. Okay, they can survive in water, they can survive in air, soil, and hot and cold conditions. Okay. Okay, so the next thing which we come to is kinds of microbes, and these are mainly virus, bacteria, fungi, and protozoa. Okay, so now on the screen you can see here bacteria, and these are rod shaped bacteria. Bacteria are actually unicellular, that means they are single celled, they are having only one cell. Okay, and they come in different shapes like rod shaped, spherical shaped, and comma shaped. Okay, so here you can see rod shaped bacteria, and they causes diseases such as typhoid, cholera, and tuberculosis. Then the next type of microbe is virus. Okay, they causes diseases such as polio, measles, common cold, and chickenpox. Okay, and they are the smallest microorganisms that can only be seen under electron microscope. Okay, they are very small, and even today the COVID-19 is caused due to virus. Okay, and then this is protozoa. They causes disease like malaria, filariasis, and dysentery. Okay, they are also unicellular microorganisms. Then we have fungi. They cause diseases such as athlete's foot and ringworm. Okay, so they are non-green plants, and they are unicellular or multicellular. Okay, they can be unicellular or multicellular both. Microorganisms, they cause different types of diseases. So you may think that microorganisms are always harmful to human beings, but it is not so. Some microorganisms, they are useful to man in several ways. Okay, for example, in preparation of food items, there is a bacteria called lactobacillus which is useful in making curd from milk. Okay, then cheese and paneer are also made by using lactobacillus. Okay, then there is a unicellular fungus called yeast which is used to make bread, cakes, idlis, etc. Then there is mushrooms. Okay, mushrooms, they are although bigger than the microorganisms, but it is a fungi. Okay, fungi which are taken by which are eaten by many people, and they are rich in proteins and vitamins. Okay, then microorganisms help to clean the environment also. Bacteria and fungi break down, or you can say decompose, dead and decaying plant and animal matter into simple or inorganic substances. They are thus called decomposers. Okay, hence these decomposers, they help to keep the environment clean by preventing the accumulation of remains and waste of dead organisms. All right, then one more thing, that these microorganisms, they are also used to produce vaccines. Okay, you must have heard about smallpox vaccine, polio vaccine. So they all have been developed from the dead and weakened microorganisms, okay, that do not harm the body, but ultimately they are prepared from those microorganisms only. Okay, so in this way you can say microorganisms are very useful for us also. Okay, they are required for different useful things. So since I told you that these microorganisms or microbes, they are responsible for causing diseases in our body. Okay, so let us first understand what is a disease. Now, disease is a condition of the body where a small or a large part of our body becomes unhealthy. Okay, so these diseases are of two types. Now, communicable and non-communicable diseases. So, communicable diseases are those that are passed on from one person to another by touch, sneezing, coughing, etc. Okay, and non communicable diseases are those that are not passed on from one person to another. Alright, so these are two categories of diseases, communicable and non communicable diseases. So now we come to non-communicable diseases, and in this first of all we will study about deficiency diseases. So as I told you that non-communicable diseases are those which are not passed from one person to another through touch, sneezing, etc. And deficiency disease occurs when our body does not get adequate quantities of nutrients, okay, and the body becomes deficient, or there is lacking of certain nutrients in our body. So this causes deficiency diseases. Okay, you can see in the table here that deficiency of different vitamins and minerals, they lead to different deficiency diseases. For example, deficiency of vitamin A leads to night blindness, in which person cannot see in dim light. Okay, vitamin B deficiency, it causes beriberi, in which the symptoms are that the person loses weight and he has weak muscles and it causes paralytic effect. Then deficiency of vitamin C causes scurvy. Vitamin D deficiency causes rickets, okay, in which the bones are soft and deformed. All right, and there is the teeth start decaying. Then vitamin E deficiency causes early aging. The person has wrinkles on the face at the early age only. Then iron deficiency causes anemia. Okay, there is a lot of weakness in this condition. Then calcium deficiency causes rickets, again weak bones, and the teeth, they are prone to cracking and the growth remains stunted. Okay, that means retarded growth. All right, so then iodine deficiency, it causes goiter. There is a swelling of thyroid gland near the throat in adults. All right. Okay, so you can see here this person is suffering from goiter, which occurs due to deficiency of iodine in the body, and in this swelling of thyroid gland occurs. All right, so in this you can see that this child is suffering from kwashiorkor. This disease occurs due to malnutrition. Okay, and then this is beriberi disease, and this is rickets, in which the bones are soft and deformed. And then this is scurvy, in which I told you there are bleeding gums, swollen joints, etc. All right, so the next type of non-communicable disease is lifestyle disease. Okay, so these are non-communicable, and these occur because different people have different ways in which they lead their life. Okay, so this is known as their lifestyle. And when people as a part of their lifestyle eat excess fatty food and do not exercise, you know that it is very important to eat healthy food, balanced diet, and to exercise also, so that you remain healthy. Okay, when a person does not do that, then it leads to lifestyle diseases such as obesity, diabetes, and heart problems. Okay, so some habits such as smoking also may cause diseases like lung cancer. So these are all under our control actually. If we will modify our lifestyle, we can control these diseases also. You can see here the picture of an obese child. Okay, that is in Hindi we call motapa. All right, and it is not good for our health, children. So the next thing which we will talk about is communicable diseases. as we have discussed earlier, diseases that are passed on from one person to another by touch, sneezing, coughing, etc. They are called communicable diseases. And some communicable diseases are like measles, chickenpox, tuberculosis, and common cold. And these diseases are caused by harmful microbes. And in the present situation, coronavirus is also highly contagious. Okay, that is why we have been following social distancing, so that we remain away from each other and we do not communicate disease from one person to another. Okay, so harmful microbes, they are called germs, and different germs, they call different diseases. Now we come to spread of communicable diseases, and communicable diseases may spread in the following ways. In this, the first is through air. Diseases like influenza, cough, cold, smallpox, chickenpox, and measles are passed on from one person to another through breathing air containing their germs. Like you must have seen that when a healthy person, sits near a person with a cold and cough, then the healthy person also gets the same cold and cough by the next day. So that is, he has caught that disease from the infected person. Okay, so the next is through insect bites. In this, what happens, insects like mosquitoes, fleas, bugs, lice, sandfly, etc., they suck the blood of people. So in the same way, when they bite a sick person, they suck the blood containing disease causing germs. And then when they go on to the next person, and if that person is healthy, they pass on these germs to that person. Okay, in this way they spread diseases like malaria, yellow fever, dengue fever, etc. Then there is through direct contact. For example, diseases like ringworm, itching, then smallpox and measles, they are spread by coming into direct contact with the people or the person who is suffering from these diseases. All right, now the next is through cuts in the skin. Now the disease causing germs cannot enter the body through a healthy skin. Okay, but if the skin gets injured or cut in any way, bacteria enter through the cuts very fast. And therefore, the germs of diseases like anthrax and tetanus enter the body in this way. Okay, now the next is through carriers. Carriers, that is, some people are very strong, and though they carry the disease causing germs, they do not suffer from the disease themselves because their immune system is very strong. Okay, so these people actually are known as carriers. They themselves are not suffering, but they may contain the germs and they may pass it on to other people. So diseases like cholera, typhoid, diphtheria, they are passed on in this way. Now through polluted soil also, hookworm. Okay, these larvae of hookworm are found in soil, and when a person walks barefoot without any slippers or shoes in their feet, so on such soil these larvae, they enter his body, okay, through the skin between the toes. Then the last one is through blood transfusions. Okay, sometimes people lose a lot of blood, okay, due to accidents or other diseases, and they need to get blood immediately, otherwise they would die. So in such cases, some blood is donated either by people or they get it from the blood banks. So the blood of donors has to be carefully tested. If it is infected by any germs, then it is natural and obvious that these germs will pass on to that person also, into which the blood has been transmitted. Okay. Now the last topic which we are going to cover in this chapter is precautions to check the spread of communicable diseases. That means what measures can be taken to check the spread or to stop the spread of communicable diseases. So in this, first is isolation. The patient should be isolated from other members of the family and kept in a separate room. only the person who is looking after him should be allowed to go near him. Okay, and once the infected person gets healthy again, he can come back to his normal life. Then next is by checking the growth and multiplication of germs, and this can be done in the following ways. That is, rubbish and garbage should be collected in separate bins and always should be kept covered. Toilets should always be kept clean and washed. Drinking water and all the food articles should be kept properly covered, and drinking water should be boiled and should be properly stored. Okay, the house and its surroundings should always be kept very clean, and all drains should be kept covered. Okay, and the last measure which can be taken is vaccination. Okay, so I told you earlier also that vaccine actually is produced or is made from the dead and weakened microorganisms that do not harm the body. Okay, these vaccines are then introduced into the body to induce the formation of antibodies, okay, that can fight against the microorganisms, and this is called vaccination. And you must be knowing about the vaccination or smallpox vaccine. It was first successful vaccine to be developed, and it was developed by Edward Jenner in 1796. Okay, so vaccine have also been developed against cholera, smallpox, polio, typhoid, whooping cough, etc. Okay, so this is it in the chapter, but